you, Freddy's coming for you. You know why they sing that? Because that's when he comes for you. In your dreams. You're lucky to be alive.
Who is he?
He's a child murderer that some parents from around here burned alive. Then he came back. Back for revenge in our nightmares. Funny no one ever told us.
Okay,
about it,
thank
huh?
you. No.
You want some free advice? Coffee. Make friends with it.
Mark! That's enough. You're scaring her.
What is this movie? 2003, made in 2002. Were there energy drinks back then, Drew?
If
Monsters?
they did,
Red
that's
Bulls?
like Freddy's kryptonite. Because you make this movie now, like people will just be hopped up on Monster, Rockstar.
Listen, Fred, I can stay up all night, baby. You're not getting inside my head. Give me some Monsters. Give me that case. Give me that case of orange.
Yeah, you get to subscribe and save from Amazon.
Yep. Freddy can't deal with subscribe and scrape. Amazon.
I'll say this
Monsters,
too
baby.
about this scene. This guy's the best actor of the movie. Just give me
He
more
is.
of this guy. I wish we
Poor
had
guy.
more of him.
Poor guy. And you know who else was good? His dead brother in the bathtub.
He was great.
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's
Yeah.
a shame that he wasn't in it more. I wish we got more of him.
He looked like Freddy, even though it was
He
his
did.
face, and he sounded like Seth Rogen trying to impersonate Freddy. If you remember that scene.
Was that on purpose, you think? The way they made him look and sound like Freddy? I feel.
I don't know. That's the guy's face, though. They didn't change his face.
But
His
they cast
face is
him
his
maybe
face. They
for
casted
it.
him. They did cast him.
They knew what they were doing.
They
It was
did.
on purpose.
They knew.
So this is episode 141. If you are new to the show, this is the Last Row podcast. Welcome back to all welcome to all new listeners, and welcome back to all of our regulars. This is episode 141, as I mentioned. I'm Drew. I'm here with Badway. If you're looking for our website, check us out, thelastrow.podcast.com. Follow us on all the social channels. At The Last Row Pod is our handle. Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram. Check us out on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. And if you're enjoying the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review. Actually, just do it, please. Thank you to everyone that's done so far.
Show up at our MySpace. Check out our Zanga. All that good stuff.
Zanga. Man, we're really showing our age. Zanga. I haven't heard that one in a long time.
Freddy versus Jason, August 13th, 2003. I know where you were when this movie was released.
I was in midnight. I was with you, actually, wasn't I?
Midnight screening. Left
Back in the day.
side Freddy, right side Jason. Who you got? This was an event.
Do you remember what side we picked? I don't remember.
Right side Jason. I probably made you guys go right side Jason.
I don't remember what side. I think you can't side with a pedophile.
Yeah,
You're
we
not
can't
allowed.
be rooting for the pedophile. And the people on the left, how dare they?
You can't root for that. It's not possible. Jason's just misunderstood.
Yeah. This was an event movie. The movie stinks, but it was also awesome. Better in the early 2000s. We'll get to that later.
Agreed.
Runtime, 1 hour, 38 minutes, just about right.
Yeah.
You could have wrapped it up in less than 8 minutes. Yeah.
Maybe they could have got down to 90, I feel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Horror slasher, directed by Ronnie Yu. What you know about Ronnie Yu, Drew?
I know that he hasn't done much, and I know that he forced one of the actresses to do a nude scene against her will in this, which is major violation.
Listen, you're not going to talk crap on Ronnie Yu because he directed one of my favorite horror comedies of all time, which is Drew. Do you know?
I don't.
You don't know. Bride of Chucky. Come on, he did Bride of Chucky.
He did Bride of Chucky?
He did Bride of Chucky. He did.
All right. I didn't. All right.
Yeah.
I'll give him credit.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any nude scenes in that? Doll scenes?
Oh well, I mean, actually, there
nude dolls.
No, wait. I think the nude doll scene was in Seed.
Seed. Right.
There might have been. I can't remember.
If there's a seed, there's nudity.
I mean, that's not why I remember Bride of Chucky is for the nude dolls. But
that was over here playing with his toys naked.
Yeah, but the guy definitely has a style, like the blues and the reds that he uses in this movie. It's very much apparent in Bride of Chucky. Bride of Chucky was a couple years before this too. So
I saw that James Wan was supposed to direct this, but he did Saw instead. Do you think this would have been different with James Wan because he's got a very different style?
Yeah, I think it would have been more serious and a little darker. You can't make a Freddy movie super serious. It's got to be jokey, but I think it would have been a little darker. Sure, probably better because this movie's stylish though, and like in a campy 2003 way that kind of fits the era.
And Saw wouldn't have been anywhere near what it was without James Wan. I don't think that was a very specific style.
And plus, like, he made that movie with no money.
Shoestring budget.
Yeah, he made it with no money. He made it work. Yeah. So imagine if they handed him a bunch of money, said, "Here's Freddie and Jason."
Oh,
who knows what he could have done?
He'd be doing Aquaman. That's what basically what he did, right? Like,
which
epic.
Aquaman? James Cameron's Aquaman, or
the one he did, the new one,
or his Aquaman?
Like, imagine, because I feel like, could you imagine James Wan? They would have had like scenes of them in hell with like all kinds of demons and stuff, which is pretty cool. It would have been awesome. But that's new James Wan, I guess.
Yeah. IMDb 5.7 out of 10.
Probably about right.
It's probably about right. It's pretty fair. Rotten Tomatoes 42%. I thought it'd be lower because it's not a film. It's not a film. It's a movie.
But it's what people wanted, but they didn't get maybe what they wanted. So it's probably about right.
Definitely where a user score is higher than a critic score. Metacritic 37%, which just disproved my theory. And Letterboxd 2.7 out of 5. I'll take anything over half. So
I'm surprised that it wouldn't be higher, just because I feel like this is one of those types of movies that maybe if you got the Freddy and Jason fans watching this, but maybe the Freddy and Jason fans didn't like it. I don't know, because I'm a casual slasher fan.
Mm-hmm. So I think anything over 2.5 is a win for this movie for Letterboxd.
Sure.
I mean, it passes the test of, did you like it? Yes. Is it good? No. But having said that, me also, I'm not a Freddy fan. Like, I've seen a couple of his movies. I've seen all the Jasons. A lot of them are really bad. Yeah. A couple are pretty good. But this movie is a far more entertaining than much of the later Freddy and Jason movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could say that. I haven't seen all of them. Yeah. I've seen a lot of the originals, but
this is a lot more palatable for a casual viewer of horror or Freddy and Jason than like Jason Goes to Hell, which is a piece of crap, or, New Nightmare. Yeah. Not New Nightmare. New Nightmare is actually a good movie. Freddy's Dead, some bad movies.
I feel like they did that on purpose because you got to rope in the casuals that are going to maybe go to the film, because it's like, it's an event film, right? It's an event. Yeah, it's an incident and an event.
It's an incident film.
It's definitely an incident of, when Freddy comes back to Elm Street, and it was interesting, right? Because you got to rope those fans in. Like, I remember, like you mentioned, right? It's an event film. It's like, this is a title fight, and the first time you get it, it's kind of like AVP, that kind of thing.
Exactly. So what's this movie about, Drew? Two horror icons face off in this supernatural movie. Disfigured serial killer Freddy Krueger, who attacks his victims in their dreams. I got to read that again. In their dreams, has lost much of his power since citizens of his town have become less afraid of him. I don't know. I feel like they're totally afraid of him, to the point where they got to stop mentioning him.
Yeah, they forgot about him on purpose because of how
afraid they are of him.
It's like they're not currently afraid.
Yeah. Enlisting the help of fellow violent murderer Jason Voorhees, Freddy orchestrates a new killing spree. However, the hockey mask wearing psychopath won't stop chopping up Freddy's intended victims. The two ghouls start to battle each other. I love the word ghouls. Are they ghouls?
No, they're not.
They're ghouls. They're not traditional ghouls.
Maybe Freddy's a ghoul because he's more of a ghost, but I don't know. I feel like Jason is like a physical manifestation of this like body. And isn't it interesting because, you think about movies that we did in the past, like Angels in the Outfield, like the exact opposite, right? Like, you got to believe. You got to believe so the angels can win the pennant, right? Yeah. You got to believe in Freddy so that he murders your life and takes your family away. So it's like the reverse. It's the opposite of believing and knowing, You
don't want to believe.
I just think it's an interesting thing. We have to talk about the powers later. We'll get into that in true last row fashion. We'll get into that later. Taglines. There's a lot, so I'm just going to kind of rapid fire these. We'll go through them and just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Okay.
All right. Ready? Freddy versus Jason. The slicer, the dicer, and this time they're not any nicer.
Okay. I like it, but no.
No. Freddy versus Jason. Place your bets.
Yep, that makes sense. I like it.
A Nightmare on Elm Street meets Friday the 13th, literally.
Pretty standard, but it's not bad.
A Fright to the Death.
No.
Winner kills all.
Okay.
Evil will battle evil.
Boring.
Even a killer has something to fear. When the son of 100 maniacs battles an unstoppable killing machine, none will survive.
Too long.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, Jason's at your door.
Cute, but no.
I kind of like Slicer and the Dicer.
I kind of like slicing the dice. I feel like, I don't know, Place Your Bets is pretty good.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
It's okay. Well,
I would gamble on Jason minus 120.
You know what?
Put a stack on it.
New Line Cinema placed a $30 million gamble on this with an estimated budget of $30 million. Do you think they returned their investment?
It looks like they had a sweet parlay.
To turn back with I don't know what the line was, but 116 mil of return. Like it was an incident, and it was a event, as we said. It was come place your bets.
It's what the people wanted.
They were
asking for it forever, and it finally happened. The two New Line Cinema ghouls, as they say, come clashing together.
Yeah, when you said earlier when Freddy orchestrated a new killing spree, I thought you said nude killing spree.
Killing spree. No, that's something. Let me think about that. Let me ask you a question.
Movie?
Let me ask you a question. Do you find it? All right, this might be a little personal, but
all right,
we'll try it. Do you at all find in horror movies, if the person gets killed while nude, is that like alluring? Or
no.
Is that not sexy?
It's offensive.
It's like, offensive. You'd rather them have clothes on.
Yeah, because when you're just laying there naked and dead, like it's pathetic, right?
Yeah, it's pathetic. Yeah. Let me put some pants on first. Let me get some socks on.
Well, what was the guy in? I'm thinking about. Was it Out for Justice or Mark for Death? With was it Freddy Fingers? I forgot the guy's name when he had the little banana.
Oh,
hammock,
when he had the little banana hammock speedo. Yeah.
And
that was pathetic. He got thrown through the mirror.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was with the hookers.
He got destroyed.
He's with the huas, and he was there, and he just looked pathetic. Like if they had
more clothes on than he did.
Yes. Now, if he had a shirt on and pants while he got murdered, you'd almost kind of feel a little bad for him. It's like, all right, but he was so vulnerable. He was
not
nude.
fair. Not even fair.
He wasn't like, he didn't even have a jeans to maybe like help the knife or something, right? Like these guys, like the guy that got killed in the bed when it got crunched on him, is pathetic, right? Like his junk's probably all flapping out, hanging around. Like,
I mean, it could be exposed to choppage.
Yes.
Right?
You don't want to see that. Yeah. I feel like it's pathetic. I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
Glad.
There's a bunch of awards for this, right? This thing, Fangoria and all these other ones, the ones that we care about as the regular listeners know. Let's go Teen Choice Awards, Badway. This thing lost of Choice Thriller. The nominees were Dawn of the Dead, Gothica, Butterfly Effect, which is what we've done on this show, Van Helsing, Underworld, Secret Window. The winner of this was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. The Jessica Biel one, that was a really good movie.
That's a good movie.
That was a good remake. Actually, Dawn of the Dead is probably
Dawn of the Dead's great.
I'm
pretty sure isn't that Zack Snyder too? I'm pretty sure. I like that movie a lot. And,
but listen to this murderer's row of 2002 ass movies.
This was that time. I feel like, and we got to come back to this because I don't want to forget. So when we're done with these, I want to talk about 2003 as a year because I feel like this has a feel to it. But yeah, you're right. And Secret Window, like, I don't know, you stole my story. That's such a weird movie. And then it also lost in another category. For the category was Choice Movie Your Parents Didn't Want You to See. Again, Dawn of the Dead, Euro Trip, fan favorite of mine, Kill Bill Volume 2, The Girl Next Door, another last row favorite, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Scary Movie 3, and it lost to one of my all-time favorites of all time, American Wedding.
But let me ask you this, though. I mean, at this point of like the target audience of American Wedding,
right?
Aren't the parents seeing this movie at this time?
Probably.
It's not the teens anymore.
Well, I guess what American Pie 1 came out, and I don't even remember. Was 99?
99 or 97? I don't know.
I don't even remember.
But at this point, we're in college. It's like, F you, Dad. You're not telling me what to watch.
Yeah, that's true. I guess they're probably going with you because it's like, all right, it's kind of funny because it's like, American Pie is the new age Animal House and all that.
But especially American Wedding, it's like, I wonder, like, did high school students want to watch American Wedding?
Probably not.
You know what I mean? Like, even though it's like, it's like hijinks and it's a funny movie and all that, but it's like, I don't know. They didn't grow up with American Pie. They can appreciate American Pie, but like now that the American Pie characters are older, is it less appealing to a fresh, nubile teenager?
Yeah, whereas a teen is probably going to go see Euro Trip instead or Kill Bill because it's cool, it's Tarantino, and it's super violent.
Or Freddy vs. Jason.
Scary
Yeah.
Movie 3, same thing.
Yeah.
Girl Next Door, oh, it's got a porn star. So it's a
Right.
girl from 24. She plays a porn star. Like that's, people are going to want to watch that, I guess.
Exactly.
You're right.
Exactly.
So I think you're right. I mean, again, there was some other stuff. I don't want to gloss over the fact that, this was Robert Englund's last performance as Freddy. Then he retired outside of like some cons and stuff like that. But I do want to talk to you about this movie in 2003. You mentioned this was a murderer's row. I had this weird thing that I was thinking about when I was watching this, in that this is definitely an era. And when you're in 2003, like 1980 feels so old and everything feels so dated. And there's this thing about nostalgia and the fact that everything comes back around, right?
Yeah.
So this style of movie coming back around, like 2003 to me feels older in some ways from a stylistic standpoint than 1980 in some ways. And I know that makes no sense logically,
No.
but there's a feel about it, right? Where the 80s are sort of coming back, like synthwave is back, all of the 80s vibes and the 80s feel. Whereas this is kind of like, oh, did you need to use so many of those special effects? It didn't really look that good. Like, the things and the sayings and the styles, like
The
Kelly
blue-
Rowland's
the-
hair.
Yeah, like the lighting, like the drastic lighting choices.
Right. And
Yeah.
we were just going to college at this time in 2003, right? Graduating. I graduated high school then, and we were going to college. But it has that feel to me. Now, it doesn't feel that long ago, but when you watch it, I'm like, man, this kind of looks dated, doesn't it? Kind of looks dated. And in these older movies, you sort of have an appreciation. Did you get that when you watched this? Did it feel that way?
If you showed me this movie in a vacuum, I can name you the year between 2002 and 2004, right? It's it screams it, right? And I agree with your sentiment. I feel like there's a lot more originality in 80s movies, like stylistically speaking, not even talking about story. I'm talking about directors, choices, special effects, things like that. Where a lot of these movies do feel cookie cutter. Like if you think about a movie like this and a movie like Underworld and Gothica, it's like they all they look blue, don't they? They all look blue. They're darker, like not thematically, just literally the screen. It's darker. It's like a dark blue hue over all these movies. Yeah, color graded. I don't know the word for it.
There was a very deliberate, stylistic style.
Yeah, stylistic style. Yeah.
But I agree with you completely. And it's like weird, especially also, I feel like at this time, horror movies were hot. And it was like this thing about you got to go to the movies with your friends. You got to check out the latest slasher. Like we talked about this with, from 99, I think, to the mid 2000s with, I Know What You Did Last Summer, those types of movies, these things making a recurrence. And then the endless remakes of all of these slasher films, like they came back. And I think it was a product of its time. But I have to say, like you said it earlier, is it good? No. Did you like it? Yes.
Hell yeah.
This is not a good movie, right? Like it's not very good, is it?
Especially watching it this time, the acting, Drew. The acting. I know there are small parts, but we can do better than this. The whole crew.
Who was the worst?
Jeez. The boyfriend that was in the mental home.
John Ritter's son?
Yeah, you told me it was John Ritter's son. It blew my mind.
And
I thought it was like James Marsden's,
younger brother,
lesser talented brother.
He looks like him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I kept thinking, man, this guy looks kind of like a poor man's James Marsden.
Yep,
he's very famous now, though. Like, I guess he's in a lot of like sitcoms and TV shows and stuff.
Did he improve?
Yeah, apparently. Apparently. He was bad.
Yeah. Awful. But yeah, a lot of them. Honorable mention goes to the father of the friend of the guy who died first. I don't know how better to describe that. He had one line. He walked in, yelled at his son, and walked away. It was terrible.
Oh,
you're not drinking again, are you? My friend just died. Leave me alone. Get off my effing back.
It was pretty bad. I feel like, I don't know, man. I just feel like the way that the direction that they got, I don't want to say that they're bad because they're not talented. It's just like, how do you act in this movie? Like, they're not even there. They're set pieces.
So like the main girl, I call her not Brittany Murphy, right?
She looks like her, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Not James Marsden.
Yeah, not Brittany Murphy and not James Marsden. They're not very likable to me. Kelly Rowland on purpose was a bad person.
Yeah.
So it's like you root for her death and all that. And she had a good death because she got to like dress down Freddy before Jason got her.
I like that too.
Not likable. You know, the girl in the baseball cap, not likable because she's drunk all the time.
Gibb,
you know, like,
I think her name was.
Yeah, like who are we rooting for in this movie? You know,
Nobody. Like
I'm
I don't
rooting for
think you're rooting for anybody.
The pipsqueak friend of not James Marsden was the best actor. He's the guy I rooted for, and he died too soon. He should have been there at the end.
I liked that guy, but you know who I also liked? Speaking of Girl Next Door, what's his name?
The friend from the Girl Next Door. Yeah, the not Paul Dano.
Yeah, not
not Paul Dano.
I feel bad. Like I don't want to relegate him. I think his name is Chris Marquette. But
he's good. He's good. Actor.
He's good.
Yeah,
like he was really good, but he wasn't in it enough. Not Paul Dano.
Yeah,
it's not Paul Dano. I'm sorry if you're listening to this podcast, Chris Marquette, but you're right though. You're right. Yeah. And it was odd. I think his name was Charlie or something. Linderman or something, right?
Linderman. Yeah. Linderman. Yeah. They use his last name. Yeah.
You got to have a Linderman.
You got to have a geek.
You got to have a geek.
Oh,
but
then there's not Jay from Jay and Silent Bob.
That's right. Not Jay.
And then in the cornfield, there was not Jack Black.
Yeah. Not Jack Black. That should have been. Man, if this was 10 years earlier, it could have been Jack Black. It was Jack Black's, maybe nephew or something.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Yeah, the acting was bad. And, you're obviously not going to the movie to watch them. And I think they were just, again, they're vessels. I hate to bring this word up again.
Vessels.
But, are you the vessel of the girl? I guess. Yeah. And you know what's funny? And I wanted to say this to you because is this offensive to you? So I was looking this up and I was thinking about like the reception of this movie because the audience score is obviously probably higher than the critical score. But I saw the two actresses that you mentioned, the not Brittany Murphy and then the red hat girl. They both had this thing where they were talking about how I saw that it was on IMDb, so take it for what you will. It said Monica Keena, who played the girl, not Brittany Murphy, thought the screenplay was terrible and that she only really signed on for the money and to raise her profile. And the other girl with the red hat had this whole thing where apparently she had agreed with Ronnie Yu where they were not going to do a nude scene and she had a no nudity clause in her contract. And then he went back on it and repeatedly tried to pressure her to get nude, which is such a creepy thing to do in my opinion. Sure. Very creepy. And I guess they wound up using a body double. But then you also had Kelly Rowland, who defends the film and said, hey, this thing was a hit. She liked making it and she had nothing to be ashamed about.
Okay.
I feel personally, you got to handle it like Kelly Rowland did. Like you got to own it, man.
Okay.
Like what are your thoughts on this?
I have strong thoughts because my thoughts are, who the F are you?
Yes, that's my thought too.
Who are you, Monica Keena, not Brittany Murphy, and Hat Girl?
Yep.
Because who were you before and who are you after? And I'm not trying to be a jerk about, you're not in good movies, but don't trash what put money on your table, all right?
Yes, that's how I feel.
Like, it's Freddy versus Jason. It's not about you. It's about Freddy and Jason.
In my opinion.
Don't do the movie. Oh, well, you want to do the movie because, do you want money and fame? Oh, then you do the movie. So don't complain about it afterwards. You know what you signed up for. And Kelly Rowland, let me tell you, she appreciates it.
I agree.
Because she's trying to get into the business.
Right.
Very, very talented singer, She appreciates, she respects the business. Why trash the movie that gave her a chance to get into Hollywood?
Yeah. Dare I say she was also the best actress in this film too? Yeah. She was great. I thought she was really good. Yeah. And I agree with you.
You know why? You know why she's better? Because she probably had a better attitude about it during the movie.
That's my thought, right? Like, and if you're a director, right? Like, look, I'm going to take the whole nudity thing out of it. Like, maybe we don't talk about her, but like if you're an actor or an actress in this movie, like if you think you're above the movie, then don't do it. Like that's my perspective. I know everybody needs a job, but if you feel so bad about it, you're going to trash it. Like it's one thing if you signed on for something and then it becomes something else. But I feel like, I don't like the trashing of the film. Like we know it's not a good movie, but I don't think anyone came in here thinking this was going to win an Oscar. Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, we all know what it is. It's not about any of the humans on the screen. It's about the two ghouls, as they say.
That's the thing. You're here to run away and scream.
Yeah,
like
you're there. Be chased, get murdered, or be murdered.
Yeah, or get flipped up in a bed in between. Yeah. Like the guy that he got his balls ripped off, probably. Yeah. So.
And as far as the nudity thing goes, Ronnie Yu's a creep for pressuring this poor girl. But if the scene calls for nudity, then use the double, use the stunt boobs. You don't pressure the girl to do the nudity until she says no, get away from me, you creep. Just from step one, use the stunt boobs.
Well, what is the ethics of that because people will think that you were nude.
Yeah,
so do you need the agreement to
I don't know if you need the agreement for stunt boobs.
But maybe you do because she had the
Maybe
thing
you
in her
do.
clause. Because it's like, oh, hey, you could say, oh, let's say you're nude in a movie or you're not nude in a movie, and then
Yeah.
they show you, and it's like, oh, I saw Badway. He was
Yeah.
nude in this movie.
Mhm.
It's like, but you're like, I didn't
Okay.
do that. It wasn't me. It was a stunt.
I guess like that's got to be in the fine print, I suppose.
That's why she had a contract, no nudity clause.
no nudity, but like we're not showing you nude. Well, it's not my fault if they assume it's you. It's just some girl in a shower. I don't know.
But they don't want to.
Show
They
her
don't want to
face.
think that it's you. So is implied
creepy.
nudity
It's
just as
creepy.
creepy as regular?
Look, I'm not
nudity?
trying to like be on the side of the creep or anything like that. All I'm saying is
He's anti-creep.
is that like you put a contract in front of an actress, right? And she's like, okay, do you want to do the movie? Yes. Do you want to be nude? No.
No.
Well, the scene calls for nudity. So if you won't do the nudity, we still want you in the movie, but we're going to have a stunt body double.
That,
Is
but
that
that
okay
needs
with you?
agreement.
Is that okay with you? No? Then you're not in the movie. Is that okay with you? Yes? Then here we go. Let's play.
I guess I could see what you're saying. I think if the agreement was there and they went back on it, then that's where I think she has a right. But I also think she shouldn't trash the movie because it's like, oh, this movie's a piece of crap. It's like you're in the movie or you're not.
We can have an hour-long ethical discussion about if she did not give consent, but it's legal to have a stunt body double. Like, is that cool or not?
I think
that,
it's
that
not
could
cool.
be that could be a whole thing.
Yeah,
right?
we should probably not lose listeners over it, but I would say that I don't think that they should have done it unless she agreed.
Ethically, no. Legally, yes. But there's a lot of gray area that like we don't have time to discuss.
I agreed. Let's talk about this movie as a whole. And Freddy wasn't nude, fortunately for us, I guess.
Well,
so.
I mean, shriveled
That we
up
saw.
little dick.
Yeah, I don't even know if maybe it burned off. I don't know.
Yeah.
But let's set this up. So why are these two guys even fighting? Like what is the reason that they're here? How did they everyone's been thinking about this since 1980, I guess. People wanted this or whatever the year was. Why are they even together?
So Freddy needs to get some respect put back in his name, right? It's been
forgot.
too long. I forgot who done it. Just imagine if like all of a sudden no one remembered who Michael Jordan was.
Yeah.
You know,
It's kind of
Michael Jordan, he'd be pretty pissed, right?
He took it
People
personally.
be like, greatest of all time, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. Michael Jordan would be like, what the hell? I'm right here. I'm still alive.
He thinks that now, I think.
So Freddy's got to get the respect put back on his name. How do I do that? Let me incept the second greatest killer of all time, Jason Voorhees. Let me use his puny little brain to take an attack on 1428 Elm Street to get people to think that Freddy did these murders. Even though flipping a bed, sandwiching a bed the way it doesn't bend is not a Freddy move.
It's not his MO. He doesn't do that.
That's a Jason strength move, by the way. So
definitely.
Yeah.
It's got his fingerprints all over it.
Yeah. So, but still, like, that's the thing. Like, oh, what happened on Elm Street again? Is this Freddy? We can't say Freddy. Don't say Freddy. Shh, don't say Freddy. The kids don't know. Don't say Freddy. So that's the plan, is to get people thinking Freddy's back. Enough people think Freddy's back. Freddy get the dreams. Freddy gets the power back. It's a good plan.
It is. And if we were to villain scale it, it might be one of the better.
Might be a 5 plan.
plans.
It worked too. It worked to perfection. Why are they fighting? Well, Jason got a little too kill happy, and Freddy gets jealous.
Yeah.
Right?
He can't share the spotlight with anybody.
Now that Michael Jordan's back in the spotlight, all of a sudden Scottie Pippen scoring all the buckets? Come on.
Can't have that.
Get in your lane, Jason.
You can't have that.
This is Freddy's time.
Yeah, it's his time to shine.
And that's why they're fighting. And Jason's like, I don't know why you're fighting me, but we'll fight if you want to fight. Jason's just looking to chop up some teens.
He's a machine. He just wants to kill. He's a very like simple approach to things. Like
he's like an animal. He's more of an animal than like a evil killer.
He's an evil child, right? Where he's got. I mean, I guess he has the mind of a child because he literally was a child at the time of his death or whatever it was.
Yeah,
or supposed death.
Yeah,
but I like the move of him manipulating Jason. Did you like his technique for that? Like when he showed up as his mom.
Yeah, no, it worked. He pushed all the right buttons. Used the naked teen who's not paying attention.
Yeah,
and then used the
Teased him.
mom to where like, I got to do it for my mom. That's why we're doing this, right? So it was a perfect plan. It was a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I think it was good. And if you guys haven't listened, we did, I think it was 2 years ago at this point for Halloween. It was probably 2021, if I'm not mistaken. I don't even remember at this point. We did a Halloween villain extravaganza where we took all Halloween villains of really horror villains and slasher villains. and we put them through a gigantic bracket. And I feel like it's an underappreciated episode.
Yeah.
It's a little long, but listen to it in a couple parts and you guys can check it out.
Not our typical Valence scale. We had new categories. It was a good
Yeah.
time. We took some time, put it together, and if you haven't heard that one, go back and listen to it.
I'll put a link in the show notes. You guys check it out and let us know. If you want us to do more of those types of things, we can bust that out. But you mentioned that the town forgot about Freddy. They didn't remember all the great work that he did for murdering, children and all kinds of, manipulating people in Elm Street in this town.
Killing of the teens of the mothers and fathers that killed him.
I think there's an interesting perspective to this. So if you're a teenager and you watch this, they're trying to erase this from history, and there was some collateral damage here. What do you think of the parents and the town and the cops and all this stuff, right? They had this plan to basically erase Freddy from memory.
Yeah.
And there was some things that had to happen that were there. There was drugs involved and all kinds of stuff. Put yourself in the shoes of like that sheriff. Is that the right thing to do? To erase him off of the face of the earth?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta. What's the saying? You gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet, right? you gotta imprison a few kids for the well-being of the town for the rest of their lives. It's kind of thing where
lesser of two evils
sucks, but we got to do it. Yeah, lesser of two evils. I think they could have treated the kids a little better. Why treat them like prisoners in that place? Just hop them up on Hypnosil and give them a better life than just checkers and Uno.
Yeah, it was pretty dire in that facility. I feel, I don't know, like the kids took this sort of moral dilemma, and I feel like as you're younger, right, you're very righteous, you want to do the right thing and all that stuff. And I think as you get older, you start to like see these different things in the world, and it's not very black and white. And look, I don't think what they did was the right thing, but I also don't think it was the wrong thing. It was a thing that they did, and it was tough, right?
I just thought of something. This has nothing to do with anything, but the two kids, our heroes, right, in the mental hospital, they're put there because they were like during the generation where Freddy was popping, right?
Yep.
So they're like, they got to forget, right? This guy is also the boyfriend of the girl who's currently in high school. How old is this guy? And when were they dating?
Yeah.
How old was he? So if she has no idea who Freddy is and he knows everything about Freddy, what's going on with this relationship?
Well, and they said it too, where it's like, oh, he just disappeared one day. Like he just felt, and Kelly Rowland was trying to get, the girl to be over the boyfriend. I got the impression they were like 8 years old at one point, because it's like, what, like, oh, is this like a middle school romance? Like, what is it? It didn't make any sense.
I just feel like he was like 27 and she was 16. I get this bad feeling now that like I'm just trying to do the math in my head now, and this is not looking good for her.
He's pulling a Freddy.
It's not. Yeah, it's not looking good for him.
It's not good at all.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Not James Marsden over there.
Yeah.
I look, I don't know. I mean, look, this movie is so hard to talk about. I think we said it last week when we talked about Beetlejuice. It's a very visual movie. Like this movie is just Freddy and Jason fighting. Yeah. And, if you looked at our notes here, I don't even know where to talk about these teenagers. Like I wanted to talk about the cornfield rave. Like, would you be seen at one of these parties? Like
it's pretty hopping party, man.
It's just like this rave in the middle of nowhere. Like it reminded me of when we went to one of our friends' what was it? Not bachelor party, his graduation party, and we lined up all the cars around the volleyball court, and everyone put the same radio station on, and we just listened to the same music. Like that was our version of this cornfield rave. Like I don't know. Like there was not much about these kids, right? I didn't like any of them except for the one guy that was committed. That was about it.
That was it.
And the relationship was off to me. So. But back to the dad.
I got us off track. Yeah.
No. Listen, it's important. We got to talk about this stuff with the dad. Like, is this a situation where the adults actually know better than the kids?
Yeah, and in a weird way, this is. Yeah, I feel like sucks to be one of the few that are locked up, and they certainly could have treated him better,
right?
But I feel like we can't just have people dreaming of Freddy this whole time getting murdered. We got to stop the murder somehow.
What about Hypnosil? Like, what is this stuff? It's supposed to suppress your dreams. Yeah. Like, I saw the dad trying to like essentially drug the girl,
drug her,
with her orange
drug the daughter.
juice.
Yeah,
that was odd to me. At first, I wasn't sure because they set it up to almost seem like the dad was this nefarious character. And do you think that was by design, where you're supposed to think that he murdered the mom?
Not trust him. Yeah, sure.
So did he actually murder their mom? What did
think
you
so.
get from that? Because it was very ambiguous.
Yeah. So not James Marsden said he was climbing out the window one day and he saw, as a 20-something-year-old does to climb into his teenage girlfriend's bedroom, that he saw the dad with the knife over the mom, bloodied.
Mhm.
Hey, listen, your dad just killed your mom. I'm sorry to say that's why they put me away. Not true. We come to find out that it was Freddy who was killing this girl's mom. And they didn't explain anything else after that, right? Which leads me to believe that Freddy was in the dream of the mom, trying to kill the mom, because Freddy loves killing people at 1428 Elm Street, right? He says something like, it's like, I love killing sluts from in this house, or whatever he says, And I think maybe like the dad and the mom had a plan that they had later on too, where I'm going to go to sleep on purpose, try to pull Freddy into the real world so I can kill him. I think that was the plan. I think that's why the dad had the knife. That's the only logical explanation why. They don't say that. They don't even hint it. They don't even like broach the subject.
I didn't even get that, but that's a really interesting way to think about it, because I thought maybe he was like worried about her and she was freaking out or whatever, but I like your idea of trying to pull him out, and it was on purpose.
There's no other reason for him to have the knife, right?
Yeah. It's like when the girl went under too.
Yeah. So I think they had the similar plan. It's like a plan you do with Freddy. Let's get him out in the real world so we can kill him in real life. Because that's the only way you can kill him. You can't kill him in the dream world. So
let's talk about Freddy's plan and to get back into the town. And this is the whole point of what you said before, right? He forgot about, or people forgot about him. He took it personally, like Jordan. It's a very Jordan move, I think, like you said.
And I took it personally.
I think it's really good. You said it was a genius plan and it could have worked, but do you think he made a mistake thinking that he could control Jason?
Yeah, I think he underestimated him. Like, what did he think Jason was going to stop killing people once Freddy got popping again? Yeah.
Because how do you stop Jason a killer?
What to do. You can trick Jason into doing something, but you can't tell him what to do.
Right.
There's a reason why Freddy didn't ask Jason, hey, can you please? Like, he tricked him.
Do you think that Jason cared he was being tricked, or was it just one of those situations where it's like, hey, man,
no,
he's just kill?
It's like, so Freddy put this idea in my head, but now I'm out and I can do whatever I want. Cool. Let's do it.
It's like you unleashed a beast.
Yeah. Where's the rave at? Where's the sexy teens at?
I want to talk about their powers and their motivations in a second, but do you think that this was an effective way to bring them back, or would you have preferred a different way? Because I had also read some of the history about this, where there was different ways that they were connecting Freddy and Jason. Because this was the first time outside of, I think you said, the last Friday the 13th, where you even have some type of connection. Like, there was never a literal connection outside of the end of that movie when Jason goes to hell, I think.
Yeah.
Would you have preferred a different way, or did you like the way that they brought them back?
No, I like it. I mean, it wouldn't. You brought up something about James Wan having them meet in hell. Like, that would have been awesome, right?
That would have been really cool.
Like, that's another way, but I don't know how they get back, alive. But I thought this is a pretty clean way to do it. Like, of all the faults of this movie and how bad the movie is, but how awesome the movie is, it's a pretty clean way to get them back into the real world, right? I can't see a much cleaner way to do it.
Well,
I'm no writer, so.
No, I agree with you. And there was like these weird things that I saw. Now, let me say some of these, and you tell me whether you would have liked it better or not. So in a bunch of so this thing has been worked on for like forever, a lot of years. There was a bunch of different twists that they were considering to do. And the one was to connect Freddy and Jason, that either Freddy assaulted or had some type of encounter with Jason's mom. And as a result, he was unknowingly his dad. I don't know how you feel about that. That could have been something.
Seems ridiculous. As ridiculous as, a dream killer and an 11-year-old man-child can be. Man-child ghost. I'm not having that. That's too ridiculous.
What about, so there was another one that was considered where Freddy either worked at Camp Crystal Lake in the past and either touched him in a way.
So now you get me to think of the scene in the girl's dream where Freddy is the counselor.
Yep.
With the t-shirt on. Freddy with a t-shirt on is funny.
So funny to me. Yeah. It's like you said it, right? It's similar to Chucky, and Freddy is the closest to Charles Lee Ray that you're going to get in terms of horror adjacent villains. And then, so then there was this other one where either he was a child murderer or another type of sex offender and gave Jason some type of motivation to track down and kill Freddy. They dropped him because they were too dark and too contrived, which I agree with. I think you nailed it. It's the cleanest way to bring him back.
Yeah, there's no need to bring the mother into it as far as the mother having relations with Freddy. That's just, it's too far.
It's kind of stupid. It's like, why?
It's too like long of a string. Simple is good.
Simple's
in
better.
This case.
I
In this
agree.
case.
Less is more.
Yeah.
Okay, so who are you more afraid of, Freddy or Jason? From a pure, like, if they came into your life, like if Jason was busting into your house or Freddy was in your dreams, like who do you find more horror inducing?
Is there anything more annoying than not being able to go to sleep?
No.
Right? Like, let's say it's 1 a.m. You're sitting on the couch, you're watching TV, and you're dozing off. Now imagine that you can't doze off. Like, you're not allowed to doze off, and you were forced to like stop yourself from just giving in and falling asleep. That's torture.
I agree with that.
Right?
I mean, that is sleep deprivation is literal torture, right?
And now it's like, oh, don't go to sleep. Not only because you're not allowed to, but because you will be brutally murdered if you do fall asleep. That's fear. That's terror. And that's why Freddy gets his props.
Well, so who do you think you could defeat easier?
Jason, because like if Freddy's only attacking you in the dream world and he's like the master of the dream world. So there's nothing you can do aside from having a plan to pull him out of the dream world, which requires multiple people to be awake at the same time.
Yeah,
and you're all sleep deprived.
Yeah, you need the guys from Inception. You need Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, let me tell you this right now. If you and I were tag teaming a way to pull Freddy out of the thing, don't let me be the guy who
my sleep buddy.
Yeah, don't let me be your sleep buddy because like once you fall asleep, I'm gonna fall asleep. And then we're both dead.
You need some type of buzzer or something like in Inception, right? Like I feel like Inception, there's some weird crossover where Freddy shows up in Inception somehow. I feel like that's a movie that we never got that we should
I feel
get.
like that's probably like I haven't seen these episodes like since like 20 years ago, but like the Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors, where they do like parodies sometimes of famous horror movies. That seems like a thing they would do, like an Inception crossed with Freddy Krueger type thing.
They have done everything, right?
Yeah, Simpsons did it. So I bet they might have done it. They might have done it in the season 57, for all we know.
What would you use from a technique standpoint? So we talk about sleep buddies. So you think you'd fall asleep. Like, are there other techniques? You mentioned at the beginning a case of Monster.
Yeah, just give me the Monster, man. But I don't know. I've never pounded Monster at 2 a.m. Like, at what point does it just not work anymore?
It doesn't work. You just give yourself a heart attack.
Yeah, the caffeine just doesn't do it anymore.
That's what he wants you to do.
Yeah.
He wants you to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
What about some type of like, do you think a micro nap could work? Like I'm thinking about all these like life hacker guys on YouTube where they're like, I'll just sleep for 5 minutes every 2 hours and you're good. You don't need to sleep ever.
But again, that depends on your sleep buddy. How can you depend on your sleep buddy to wake you up?
How long do you think you could survive Freddy before you'd go under?
See, and you're thinking that Freddy won't adapt. Freddy's going to adapt. Yeah. Right? He's not going to play with his food when he realizes people are micronapping. He's going to get right to it. The second you fall asleep, he's going to be on you. It's like, I see what you're doing.
But does he want the murder or does he want the torture? That's what I don't understand. Or both,
I feel like he'd rather have the torture, but he'll take the murder.
He'll settle for it.
Yeah. Like if it's that or nothing, he's going to murder.
Yeah, I agree. Well, what about Jason? Like, what is his motivation? Like, why is he even after people? And we don't need to rehash the history of Jason, but I think it's important.
I just feel like it's just Jason sees the irresponsibility of all teens. So he's going to he sees a teen and you're in his territory, he's going to get you.
He's got home field turf.
Yeah, he was pulled out of his territory and here I am. I might as well do what I do. Look at these teens not paying attention, having sex. Let me get you.
How far can he travel? I mean, he walks pretty slow. Is that like a part of it? Or did Freddy like drop him in? Like what happened?
I feel like Jason teleports,
You think so?
They don't explicitly say it, but there's I feel like he can teleport.
But when he went to Manhattan, did he go on a boat? You said he went on a boat, right?
He hung on the bottom of a boat, man. Yeah.
Like underwater or on the back?
It was like, at first he was underwater, then he climbed on the boat and started killing on the boat. Which I have a problem with, like him being afraid of water in the Freddy dream sequence. Because he's not afraid of water. He'd rather not be in water, but he'll do it if that's what it takes to get where he needs to go.
Yeah, that was a whole thing, right? The weaknesses, fire versus water. I think not Brittany Murphy even says it at one point in the movie, where she talks about, one is afraid of fire, one is afraid of water. How do we use this?
How
to
could
our
we
advantage?
use this?
seemed like lazy in my opinion.
Yeah.
And you had Jason walking through the cornfield on fire at
That was a great scene.
the slowest possible rate, chasing the drunk guy and the high guy.
Mm.
And I, in some ways, I don't root for, death in a movie, but some of those, they did not make the people in this likable at all. And I think that's a difference between the movies.
That cornfield scene was pure crowd pleaser. Like,
It's great.
let's get some kills of some jerks that nobody cares about, right?
It's by design, right?
Yeah,
You think?
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. But at the end of the day, Freddy is just out to murder teens who aren't paying attention,
Mm-hmm.
being irresponsible. So it's a common misconception that says that Freddy doesn't like sex and he's going to kill you if
You
you're
mean
having
Jason?
sex. Or Jason, I'm sorry. Yeah. So people say, oh, it's a rule. It's like, oh man, if you're having sex, you're dead. It's
Like he smells it.
Yeah, it's not that way. It's just you're not paying attention to him. If you're not paying attention, he's going to get you.
I thought he's got like the pheromones.
No, yeah, he smells it in the air.
It smells like sex in here.
Same thing with like the drunk guy. If you're the drunk guy in the movie, you're going to get got too because you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Or if you're the high guy, you're smoking all the weed, the pothead's going to get got by Jason. Who's not getting killed by Jason is the person who's paying attention, who is concerned about the murderer on the loose, which is why not Brittany Murphy survived.
So he's almost like killing out of spite because it's like, hey, you're not paying attention. I need to teach you a lesson.
Like the reason that my mom died or the reason that I died is because no one was paying attention, right? Like that's this thing. It's a simple plan, right? Yeah. And everyone at that rave was not paying attention.
So is he really such a bad guy when you think about it? He's just trying to protect people, Like he wants to.
He's not. He's trying to teach him a lesson.
He's trying to teach him a lesson in an extreme way.
In the hardest way possible.
I mean, hey, they weren't paying attention. Either he's going to kill them or someone else might do it. Yeah.
But let's be honest. If you're in a Jason situation and you are aware that Jason exists, you're probably going to get away because you're going to be paying attention.
That's true. That's true.
I'm getting away from Jason because I'm going to pay attention. He's not going to chase me forever. Well, he might chase me to Manhattan. I don't know. He might.
I mean, we're not that far from
only
Manhattan.
because the boat went there. He's not going to like hitch a taxi to Manhattan to come get me.
He wasn't like pulling up Google Maps saying like, hey, how do I get to...
The boat stopped in Manhattan.
Let me go to Manhattan. That's where there's a lot of people not paying attention. There's a lot of people not paying attention to Manhattan on their cell phones. Like just...
So if you and I are vacationing at Camp Crystal Lake and we realize that Jason's killing a bunch of people there, we're probably just going to get out of there and he's not going to follow us.
But do you think like there's always a situation where you're not paying attention to something? Like, right? Yeah. We're all guilty of not paying attention at some point in our life. Maybe that's what we did.
Irresponsibly. Oh yeah, that's true. But like,
true.
I guess you can make the argument that some of the sexy teens didn't know Jason existed until it was too late. That's possible. That's true. But they're allowing themselves to be distracted.
Like the guy in the bed, especially where they give you the lines, like you even said it, they make you hate them.
Yeah.
Where he's like, oh, babe, just don't touch me after.
Don't touch me after.
And then she's just got to take a shower.
I'm not going to ask you twice.
Was he ashamed of her? Like, I don't get it. Like, but you're right. He deserved to probably get his... I mean, I don't know that anybody deserves to get their bed flipped in half, but maybe that guy kind of did. I don't know. In the context of a horror movie, he did. Like, he deserved it.
Yeah, biggest alpha male, yeah.
And Kelly Rowland, like, they tried to make you hate her, but I like that she sort of got one last line of tough talk before it all ended.
At least she got to dress Freddy down, yeah.
So who's the worst villain? Freddy or Jason, and why?
Freddy's the worst villain because he's a child molester.
Yeah. I mean, that's the lowest of the low, right? Even in prison, people know that.
Yeah. Freddy kills for, I guess, revenge, right?
And pleasure.
Or Jason kills for revenge. I'm sorry.
Right.
Freddy kills for pleasure.
Which is the lowest.
Yeah.
The sickest.
Yeah. Well, Freddy also kills for revenge, but also for pleasure.
It's pleasurable revenge.
I don't think Jason's having fun.
That's true.
It's like an animal. He's like an animal. He's like a grizzly bear.
He just has to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's an instinct.
Yeah. You're in his way. He's going to get you.
It's an instinct versus like a want, a desire, right? Yeah. Like he's doing it out of just has to do it. So it's like a robot.
Yeah.
So by the way, we almost did Jason X. I want to do that one so bad. I've never seen it. I've seen parts of it.
I don't know if we want that.
I don't know. I feel like maybe we need to. We need to. Yeah. I don't look. There's not much to this movie. There's not much more we're going to say here. I don't really have anything more else to say about the teens. Do you? Because I think outside of them interfering with the title match, it was like fan interference or something like that, which I didn't like.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I was not a fan of her being like, I got to see this happen. Now, that probably was the most realistic thing that anyone's ever said in a movie, is because when Freddy and Jason are fighting each other, I got to see this. So like she was
Like, who doesn't?
the guy's trying to like leave, and she's like, I gotta see this.
Yeah.
Like I gotta see it.
You gotta. You have to.
Yeah, look at this. Look at
We
this.
got
This is a spectacle, you know. But
I
I didn't
don't
like
know.
her interfering.
Yeah, she shouldn't have. Let him be, right?
Yeah.
Because how do you know that Jason's going to leave you alone at the end?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know.
You don't know the lesser of evils or the greater of evils. And was Jason really going to lose without the aid of fire at the dock? I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know.
They were destined to kill each other. They were destined to murder each other.
It is. It's like Neo versus Agent Smith.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this was. And I don't know. I feel like fan interference was definitely not, it was a violation in my opinion. Who do you think should have won this fight? And I think they make it clear that Freddy's the bad guy in this movie, right? It's not a question, I think.
Yeah. I don't think there's any chance in hell that Freddy wins against Jason in the real world and not a dream world. It's just too powerful. There's no weakness.
I don't know. I think that the powers of Jason, like the dream world is a mystical world, right? I don't know how to say it. It's mystics versus like pure anger and hatred.
The fight they had in the dream world where Freddy was like pinballing him around, like obviously can't do that in the real world. Jason can throw you, onto the roof because he's that powerful.
He's got the strength.
He's got the strength. Yes.
Like we said, I mean, it's a hard movie to talk about, but maybe the real question that we have to ask is for something that was built up over, 20 plus years, you finally get this. Was the matchup worth it to you? Put yourself in 2003. We're sitting on the right side with Jason's crew. Was it what you wanted at the time? And did it stand up?
Yeah, I think this movie did about as well as it could do. Right? It's only only a movie like this can only be so good, theatrically. And I feel like they knocked it out of the park. It's not perfect. Obviously, it's a dumb movie. But it was totally worth it. It was a crowd pleaser, especially at the time, where it was like 10 years in the making or something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't too long, but it was long enough to where it's like, all right, we're finally doing this. And yeah, it was fun. It was a fun movie. It's a bad movie, yes. Fun movie, absolutely. Definitely worth it.
It had a massive body count for these types of movies, right?
Yeah.
So I think according to the Dead Meat Wiki, shout out to the fine folks at the Dead Meat Wiki.
Is that James A. Janice's Dead Meat Wiki?
I think so. It had 35 kills, including if you want to say that Freddy was ultimately decapitated, even though he winks in the end. So I don't know that he's actually dead. But
I mean, Jason got stabbed in the heart too, so
yeah.
They both died. Maybe they both died.
What was your favorite death of all of them? Do you have one?
I kind of liked, I mean, this is also, crowd pleasing kill, when someone's asking for it, right? Mm-hmm. Is when Glow Stick guy tries to creep on Hat Girl.
I knew it. Yes,
and
that was mine.
Gets his comeuppance because like, how dare you?
How dare you?
And again, when you're not paying attention and Jason's around, he's going to get you.
Yep, I knew it.
So it's like Jason for the save, even though he killed her.
Yeah, she got killed anyway, but
she was going to die by Freddy anyway. So
True.
it's like, if you might as well.
If you're going to die, you rather take the quick and easy death versus the nightmarish haunt you in your dreams.
No, I don't want to get too like, this is like a touchy topic, but like for that guy to try a sexual assault covered in glow sticks, the audacity, he deserved a worse death than
he
what
was
got.
rolling on Molly, I think, or something.
Glow stick sexual assault. It's like, put you under the jail for the audacity.
Yeah, what is that guy doing over there? It's like it's terrible. Mm. That was my number one favorite death, and I thought for sure, man, that guy should have died. Mm-hmm. I will tell you also, Deputy Stubbs getting electrocuted in the room. Yeah, like he was trying to help them, but he got like collateral damage.
We all thought he was going to be a savior in the movie, and like he died right away as soon as the action started.
Yeah, which I really liked. I liked that one a lot. It was a really like sort of out of left field death where they get you, they trick you. Yeah. So
I forget his name. It's like not Jim Brewer.
Yeah, not Jim Brewer.
Or Jim Brewer's older, more responsible brother.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't even remember this guy's name. He's in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, he's in a bunch of stuff. Yeah,
he's in a bunch of stuff.
Famously, Dead Man on Campus with Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Oh man, that's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
That is
he was like the nut guy. He was the
movie.
nutso guy that they try to get to kill himself.
That's a great movie.
Yep. Also, honorable mention kill to Kelly Rowland because of her like speech / dress down.
That was great.
And then Jason was like, "Get out of here! I gotta kill this guy."
That was great. I really liked her, and I thought she was really good in this. Like we said, right? She was really good. I thought she was really good in this, and I don't know, is she in a lot of other movies? Because I don't really watch her in stuff.
I don't recall. She might have been in stuff that wasn't really like in my wheelhouse. So I don't know. Dude,
you know who that guy was in also? The Deputy Stubbs. His name's Lachlan Monroe, and he was also in White Chicks. Remember that?
That's right.
Great movie.
Yep.
Great movie. Night at the Roxbury, scary movie. Like he's in a lot of very like comedic type roles. I really like that guy a lot. I think he's pretty funny. And the dude who played the brother, the brother who died. He's Farkas from.
That's right.
Christmas Story. I was like, man, this guy looks so familiar. Man, a lot of that guy's from that thing in this movie. I mean, I guess that's what you get when you get some horror movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, 35 kills. There was some really good ones, man. I thought this was really good. Maybe a way to wrap this up, because I think we're at time here, but we talk about, was the matchup worth it? Are there any other matchups that you would like to see in a movie? Like this was at a time when everyone was like, oh, they should make a Batman versus Superman movie. Like that didn't exist. And in fact, on IMDb, they were even saying that.
Yeah.
We did the Halloween extravaganza, so we talked about some of these, but in an actual movie, are there any others that you think that would have been worth it to make a movie out of?
I don't know. Like people were always doing Alien versus Predator. That was always a thing. And I think, didn't the movie come out in 2004?
There was a bunch.
Like a year after this.
And, it was like, they had a couple.
Wasn't it in comics before then?
It was, yeah. There was crossovers and stuff.
But I feel like that movie really disappointed.
It wasn't very good.
It's one of those movies where you can't see what's going on. Like the cuts were too crazy.
The perfect way to describe it. It was, you said it was a year later, and it was so hard to see. There was in that like temple. Remember that? It was like weird.
Yeah. It's like
and I like those.
Freaking 2000 style. It's like too many cuts, man. It's too many cuts. Can't see what's going on.
That movie has one of the ultimate that guys, Colin Salmon. That guy. If you know him, you know him.
I don't know him. I'd have to see a picture. Obviously, I want to see Chucky in more movies. More Chucky, the better. I don't know his matchup though, because he's so small. Like I think Freddy's a good matchup with him because of they both shit talk.
Yeah.
And Charles Lee Ray is like kind of similar, not so much on the child molestation side, but kind of just on the ruthless, I'll kill anybody, including a kid kind
He's
of
a
thing.
strangler, not a molester.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But he doesn't strangle anybody.
That's true.
He does strangle
Only
people.
the guy in the car, really.
Not as many people.
He suffocated them.
For someone being named the Strangler.
Lakeshore Strangler.
Yeah. Again, Michael Myers versus Jason's kind of interesting because it's like a matchup of like, but I feel like it's kind of like watching two centers in basketball go one-on-one.
It's not,
where it's like, if you have Shaq play Yao Ming, if we're talking about basketball at this time, it's like not going to be very compelling because they don't dribble.
See it.
They don't dribble that well. They don't shoot that well. They're just going to like try to like grunt and back each other down and dunk on each other. It's not as compelling as you think it would be.
I agree with you. I think that's a perfect comparison because it's like you think it's going to be great. Like who would even win on that? I think Jason would win just because he's actually dead.
Yeah.
Like Michael Myers, I know he died a few times, but he's supposed to be alive, right?
But Jason versus Freddy was the perfect yin and yang. It's kind of like one guy talks a lot of shit. It's a funny guy. The other guy says nothing. So it's like the ultimate, like, black versus white kind of thing. I mean, Freddy versus Michael Myers would be very similar to Freddy versus Jason. And it's just Jason's a little bit better, I feel, as far as, a character is concerned.
I mean, honestly, growing up, I always used to mix up Michael Myers and Jason because they're so similar of characters. Yeah. I know they're very different, but
stoic guy in a mask
with a knife,
with a machete or whatever
versus a knife.
Yeah.
And I think you said it with Chucky versus Freddy might be too much. It's
too
like
much
when
shit
you have
talking.
two fast talking guys, like it would be like, all right, guys, let's cut it. Let's cut it.
Yeah. And
you're right.
I'm not sure Chucky falls asleep. Like,
no,
is he asleep when he goes into doll mode?
That's the thing. Like, so is he recharging? And there is batteries in there, but no batteries included.
But he's paying attention when he's in doll mode because he can slip in and out of it whenever he wants. So I don't think Chucky sleeps, let alone dreams.
Do you actually think that Charles Lee Ray would be scared by a child molester? I don't think he would. I think he would laugh at him. Like, I think it would be, I don't think Freddy would have any powers against him.
But at the same time, I feel like Freddy would know how to handle a doll.
I think, you know what they would do? I can write this movie already. I already thought of it.
Okay.
So Freddy would come and assist Chucky in getting into Andy.
Yes.
So that he goes into a child.
Yes.
And then he could haunt his dreams because he's sort of like mixed with a child of, even though we said if Charles Lee Ray was in Andy, he's an old man
It'd still
in a
be
child's
Charles
body.
Lee Ray. Yeah, right.
But I think that that's the only way that could work. So similar to how he thinks, I'm going to use this guy to get him. I think he would use Chucky to try to get the children. And then he would go into, like, assist him into getting into Andy, and then he'd have to go after him. That's the only way that could work.
I don't hate it. I got to tell you, I don't hate it.
It's the only way. I don't know, man. I'm curious if our listeners have any other dream matchups, because it's hard to think of these. Like you said, I think the Yao Ming versus Shaq one's the best. Like you think you want to see something, but it probably won't work. Yeah. And people didn't like Batman versus Superman. They saw that. They didn't like it. It was done a certain way. Probably didn't need to see it. Dark Knight Returns already did it. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Let us know. The Last Row Podcast at gmail.com. Send us a tweet or wherever you want to hit us up on the socials at The Last Row Pod. Let us know what your dream matchups are. Did you guys think this was worth it? Because I think you nailed it, Badway. This is not a good movie, but I liked it. And I don't know that they needed to make another one. I don't know if they need a sequel to this. I think they've done it. It's kind of done.
We've done it. It's been done. In this podcast, we've done it.
We're done. So we'll be back in 2 weeks on November 2nd, 2023. Check out our Halloween extravaganza. We put it in the show notes. If you haven't listened to it, it's sort of a bonus for you guys. Check it out. Listen to it in a couple parts. And if you enjoyed this show or you enjoy our show in general, head out to Apple Podcasts and Spotify and leave us a 5-star review. Otherwise, Freddy's coming for you in your dreams.
He's going to read your Zanga, and he's going to come after you.
He's going to learn everything about you. And on that note, we'll see you guys on November 2nd. Happy Halloween, everybody. Enjoy the spooky season, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Ooh, see ya.
Do you think it was worth it for that guy? He died, but he got slapped up in the bed. But what better time to die after? You're relaxed.
You got one. We got to do this before we die.
He went out with a bang.
He did it.